Well, why don't we do a little you buying that? As per usual, Gilbert Arenas is in this one. He said he'd take Josh Giddey over LaMelo Ball. All right, Lou, why don't you start us off? Buying that?
I'm buying it, but that's not fair. That's
Okay,
not
go on.
fair. Obviously, oh man,
Oh,
I'm
dear.
I'm I'm buying. Listen, Josh Giddey is having a great season, right? It's easy to kind of look at his scenario and just randomly pick him. LaMelo Ball is different. He's focused on leading the organization. I don't think Josh Giddey has that type of pressure on him. So
Hmm.
has the results been in for LaMelo at this point to do the same thing that Josh Giddey is doing? Absolutely not. The scenarios are different. But if we're just talking about today and you're looking at the production of Josh Giddey and the way that he runs the team and all the pressure isn't on him and you're going to build around somebody like that to put pieces around him for there to possibly be better guys on the roster than Josh Giddey and you're going to build a team around him, I would buy that. But, obviously we know what LaMelo Ball is. The scenarios are different, but based on where we are today, I would buy that simply because he's saying, if he were starting a team, that's where he would start at point guard. Their scenarios are different. Josh Giddey is there to set the table. LaMelo Ball is there to run an organization. The scenarios are different. But I know Gil, I know this game. He says stuff like this to bring up engagement. So I'm going to help him with his engagement, and I'm going to say I'm buying.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's an interesting argument because first of all, it depends what team I'm on and what else I have. But Lou has a great point. Like LaMelo Ball is a franchise type player. Josh Giddey isn't. Like Josh Giddey's a very good point guard. He's having a very good year. He's not that talented, highly touted guy that LaMelo Ball is. But depending on what I have and what I need, Josh Giddey is a better point guard right now. But if I'm taking just sheer talent, it's not even close. LaMelo Ball has so much more talent than him. But if you look at production in the beginning of this season and what you can do for a certain team, I get his point that I would take Josh Giddey at the starting point guard position. But if I could take one of them for the next 5-10 years, I'm taking LaMelo Ball. Today for a game, I'm taking Josh Giddey.
Today, yeah.
Okay, can I play devil's advocate for a second? Because obviously the criticism that surrounds LaMelo Ball is not anything about his talent. He's obviously a hell of a fun time to watch.
He also just needs a good roster, Beats. He needs a good franchise.
The point would be if you pick LaMelo Ball, the idea is he is the guy. So if he's the guy on your team, depending on what else you put around him, is that a championship team?
Put LaMelo Ball like on the Houston Rockets right now. I think we're talking about him in a way different light.
Is he the guy though? If he goes to the Houston Rockets?
No, he's not the guy. He's not the guy, but he's
going to be one
good
of the
enough
guys
to go and have these 40, 50-point games. He is that guy, but he doesn't. I think he won't. I think he's like a Trae Young type player, right? He can be the guy, but on a not a championship team. But you put him on a team like with Sengun and Kevin Durant, where he can fit in and certain nights pick and choose and beat the guy. That's where LaMelo Ball will take that. Player of a bad franchise. Not rolling.
You need to get whatever monster lives in your internet wiring and just fix it. It's out of control. Okay.
Is it bad?
You literally just robot for about half a second. It's funny. I've gotten used to it.
We gotta see you bleed at this point, Chandler. I don't know.
It's very odd. Tim Bontemps, ESPN, said that Ja Morant isn't a top 10 point guard by talent or production, and that he'd rather have Darius Garland, shout out DG, he's back, over Ja. Okay, Chandler, you buying that one?
I am buying that. And I think the two guys that we just talked about in the segment, you can argue that are better right now than Ja Morant.
Sure.
Don't get distracted over the talent. Again, this is kind of the same argument. Would you take Josh Giddey or would you take Ja Morant right now? Depends on what you have. Josh Giddey's not that face of a franchise, never going to have his own Nike shoe. He's not the talent, not the caliber of player Ja Morant is. But when you look at the production and what you need on a certain team, you might go that way. Now, when you look at the point guard position, there's so many good point guards. Brunson's, Tyrese Maxey, Steph, SGA. Like he's probably not a top 10 point guard right now, but give him a month stretch of the Ja Morant we know and love, he's going to be right back in that conversation. So he's a great player. He's gone through some stuff. He's going through adversity right now with his franchise, with his head coach losing, not on a contender. Is he going to get moved? Is he not going to get moved? but he's still very good. But there are like Darius Garland, Jamal Murray, like LaMelo Ball, Trae Young. Those are all those guys that are kind of right there in that similar ranking of John Morant. So it's not crazy to say he's not a top 10 player at this point, or top 10 point guard.
Sounds like
That's
it, though.
tricky.
Yeah.
That's tricky because again, we're talking about a guy that's just not happy in the scenario that he's in. If you drop him on a team where he's happy, he finds that motivation again, he finds that joy. We're having a completely different conversation. However, the facts are the facts and reality is reality. The production just isn't there right now.
Yeah.
The Memphis Grizzlies aren't there right now. So you gotta you have to look at it in reality instead of what can be and what could be. So right now I'd have to agree.
Like I didn't even
Sorry.
mention
Sorry,
Cade,
guys.
Cade Cunningham. Like
Nope.
like he's
Yeah.
he's not a top 10 point guard.
We've
right
been
now.
saying it though, Chandler. The game moves on. Like the game waits for no man. And it's so many of these young guys. They want to prove themselves. They want to be a part of these conversations, and a lot of them have done a great job at it. You know, you just said it. Cade Cunningham, Jalen Brunson. You know, we weren't talking about some of these guys in these scenarios. Darius Garland is another one. Like these guys are emerging, and they don't care about nobody else's scenario but theirs, and they've taken advantage of those opportunities.
Like
You
the
got to give them
De'Aaron
credit.
Fox situation, right? Like he's really good. He hasn't played lately,
see.
so it's like, oh, like do they need him? They have Dylan Harper who's played 6 career games. Like it's such a what have you done for me
Fickle.
lately league. And then right now, and you combine the distractions off the court and stuff with John Morant. There's too much talent in the league to have to deal with that.
Too much. Guys, we got to take a quick break. We'll have a little more Run It Back on the other side.
Run it back.